To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
So I have this thing with rolls.
Just the end of the world.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, December 7th, 2019. I'm Laletti O'Hare.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have 6 new episodes for you this week.
Yes.
And I have nothing, and they're all just, they're episodes. They're episodes. They're not penultimate, they're not finale, they're episodes.
Well,
they're pre-crisis episodes.
Yeah, but I think technically, because with the crossover, we can call like 4 of these like mid-season finales.
This is true.
I would say
this is true.
Mm-hmm. I mean that's at least how they're being advertised. So I think we could go along with that. By the way, December 7th, 1941. It's December 2019. But this is Happy Pearl Harbor Day. Shout out to Pearl Harbor Day. I guess you would say. And I think it's my Uncle Pete's birthday. It's either my Uncle Pete or my cousin Mike. I'm pretty sure it's my Uncle Pete.
That just told everybody everything they need to know about your family, I think.
Mm-hmm. Both are great guys. Yeah. December 7th.
Yeah, as an academic, that strikes me with fear. I have so much grading to do, so much, and I haven't collected it all, and it's just going to get worse. But next week is Crisis. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
All right.
Maybe the world will end. Maybe I should wait and see if a red wave of antimatter comes and destroys me. I should not grade quite yet. I should hold out.
Well, yeah, Sarah, I know we don't usually talk about our day jobs, but are you planning on teaching a winter course this during the winter semester?
Like an interim? No. Some of my colleagues do, and that's great, but I treasure those weeks off to recharge and to, prep for the next semester. So I will finish grading. I think our graduation is December 21st, which is incredibly late. It's the winter commencement. And then I will not be back in an academic mode until I think it's January 22nd.
Oh,
and
okay.
that is how I like it. Yes.
So you like to sleep.
Yes.
Yes. Well, one other person who also likes to sleep, who I evidently interrupted, is our buddy at Bauer Fett, who tweeted out that he was sleeping well at 2 a.m. when someone had to go on a rant about a non-daughter, thus waking me up. Just want to apologize.
Your enthusiasm or ire cannot be contained at times. It's one of your positive qualities. I believe Bauer Fett listens to kind of podcasts as white noise while he sleeps, I think is what he does. So maybe we should put now content warnings when Ed gets shouty.
Maybe. Maybe I just like to keep Bauer Fett on his toes. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. This is a big week. This is we're recording the day before Crisis starts. So this is our last bastion of life before the red skies fall down on us.
And so I actually am torn. I have not read Crisis, but I know it is available on DC Universe. Ed actually pointed that out to me this morning, and I could read it between now and then and just get up to speed. But I'm worried then I'll have that in my head and be all sniffy about, well, that's not what happened in the comic, and I don't know that I want to be that guy. I don't know.
Well, I will tell you, it is a treat, because you will start it and then think like, oh, especially with me, when I first read that, you know, being really into comics and kind of knowing the DC continuity, and like everyone always talked about, oh, Crisis, it all goes back to Crisis, thinking that like this is the beginning, and then you start and realize, no, this is the end of like 40 years of backstory before it. So diving into that world, it is interesting. I would be interested to see how you dive in and you know, how long it takes to get your footing in that story, when realizing like how much continuity goes into that storyline.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but part of the reason they did that is because it would be too hard for somebody like me to come along and pick it up, because they had so many different, so they just had to, it was like wiping the slate clean, right? Tabula rasa.
We're going to clear the decks and start over. But this is how we clear the decks. And it's one big giant last stand. The
thing I am curious about is what all these fighters are going to be fighting. That's what I'm excited to see. And you know what? I am not going to read the comic. I want to watch the show do this, I think. And I will probably read it afterward. But it just seems like, how do you punch a wave of antimatter? I don't know. So I will be really curious. I'll be really curious to see what roles they all have to play.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm guessing you're going to take my suggestion and force your husband to read it.
That is, I'm going to make him. He is always my research assistant, and will text me information as I'm working. Because of course I'm going to be recapping the first hour, because I'm the Supergirl recapper for EntertainmentWeekly.com. So you will see the first hour recap from yours truly. But while I'm working on those, often he will be on hand researching things and just shoot me like, and here's this background, and you can drop this in. So we do have a pretty seamless system. So yeah, I'll assign him that homework tonight. I think he's up to the task. I don't think he will mind.
So I do have a friend who was actually my drama teacher and forensics coach in high school, who does tell a story of him as a kid getting really, really sick and staying home from school and reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it slowly made him go mad. So, you know, make sure Jason's in a good headspace if he's going to read all of that at once. But
maybe I should rethink this.
Well, no. As long as he doesn't have a fever over 104, he should be fine.
I'll do wellness checks ever so often. How you doing?
Yeah. Oh, 103.2. We're good. So yeah. All right. And so thanks everyone. You know, if anyone does want to drop us a line, it's dctv@wickedtheory.com. Or you could tweet us at dctvreport. I think I'm finally actually going to try to get more active. I say that and it's not going to happen, but I'm looking to clear the decks on Twitter and start something cool. So I'm going to say it now and then try to force myself to do it in the next 24 hours.
Wait, does this mean I'm going to see you on Twitter again some more?
Yeah, I'm thinking I really should.
I'll start talking to you more on Twitter again, because I've just sort of I've given up on you as dead. So
yeah. Just the whole thing is, you know, I'm kind of building this persona of Lil Eddie. I don't know if anyone else listens to Super Live Adventure. I've been giving them voicemails with reviews of every movie I see. So yeah, I'm trying to build up Lil Eddie. And yeah. I think that's something that could be a lot of fun. And also if you haven't had enough of me talking yet, or if you just want to help us out, if you go to patreon.com/wickedtheory, Wicked Theory Studios has a Patreon that helps us with our overhead, keeping the lights on with that bandwidth. And for as little as $1 a month, you could give us a helping hand, and also get access to a special secret podcast called Ed Bonds with Bill, where I force our grand poobah Bill Sweeney to watch James Bond movies, and I think he's turning around. I think he's starting to learn to love Bond, and oddly enough, the last one we saw has had a great impact on him, and it was Moonraker. Sarah, we're in the bold moves phase of our watch, and of course the boldest move Bond can do is go to space, and yeah, Bill ranked that movie higher than Goldfinger. So yeah.
I'm sorry, this is not a visual medium. The face I'm making right now is
that's big. You know, that's that's important. And yeah. So go check that out. Sarah, I think it's well, wow, we've been going way too long. We got to get into episodes.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is quite the pre-show. This is we get rid of one show on our roster. We're like, we have Titans time to fill. Let's do this.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right, first up, Batwoman, Season 1, mid-season finale, Mad Tea Party. Kate figured out that Jacob had been kidnapped by Alice and that Mouse was impersonating him. Mary tried and failed to convince Kate to attend a fancy gala and maybe give her mother a second chance. Sophie kept avoiding Tyler's questions about her past with Kate. Last minute reveal, Nash Wells received knowledge after tapping the symbols behind the Eternium wall and was pulled in by a powerful light.
Oh, Mary.
Oh man, yeah, it was rough. That was like, this is not gonna happen.
But I gotta say, Mary versus Alice in those scenes, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Like, man, this is... Mary had an incredibly rough week. Because...
Yes.
Because I think it's slowly dawning on her that Kate is not her sister. And... and her mom...
The only way that would have been better is if we'd had scenes of it dawning on Kate that Mary is her sister. Wouldn't that have been great to see more of a... No, I'm serious. That, I suspect Mary's going to pull away. And had Kate been like, oh, I need to hold this person closer. I wish, but there was a lot going on. I mean, that's small potatoes, very small potatoes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her mother's terrible, painful death.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, Alice gave him the ultimatum, and Catherine sacrificed herself.
After a lovely conversation, though, that she knew about the clinic, and there was. I'm glad they at least got to have that conversation, but it was still really hard to watch, and I thought the actresses just killed that scene. Just good stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe now Mary and Kate can bond over the fact that sisters suck.
Too soon, I think. Too soon. Now, would Kate being there have made any difference, do you think? Had Kate, fancied up and gone, could she have done anything?
I don't really think so. I mean, if anything, it would have risked 3 of them being infected. So
that was I feel like that's going to be a point of contention, that you could have gone and didn't. You weren't there for me, but I'm not sure what her being there would have done. I'm just preparing myself for the angst to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that may make it even harder when Mary finds out Kate's secret.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, LOL forever. That is the same fancy venue they used in Supergirl and Flash. Remember when I talked about this on Flash and said, I think that was the place they filmed Supergirl? That's the place they filmed Supergirl and Flash.
Yeah,
What is this place? Where is this magical Canadian theater?
Hey, you remember when there were like 3 Law and Order shows on at once that all filmed in New York? And yet somehow the same actor would end up guest starring on all 3 shows in
And just
completely
doing like
different
that
parts.
that character busy work. Like I'm rolling the napkins at my diner. I'm doing it really hard. Yeah, he was it. I mean, it was kind of odd that he was really preoccupied, but you know. Did the CW buy this place? Can we rent it for weddings? I have questions. That's not what this episode is about, but when I saw that, I lost my freaking mind. It better be on Arrow before it finishes.
Yeah. Well, what other CW shows shoot in Vancouver? Like, has this shown up on Supernatural yet? What's the...
That's a sensitive spot. I'm way behind on Supernatural, and apparently I missed a good episode this week, so I need to get caught up. If I see it, I will definitely let you know.
All right. And, so yeah. How do you think Doug Ray Scott had fun pretending to be Mouse, pretending to be him?
There was one point where he did this amazing slouch as Mouse, as Kate's dad, and I was just like, that it was so good. It looked like he was having fun. It looked like he gave some thought to just his stance and his posture. He looked like a twisted young kid, basically, in an adult's body. It was great.
Yeah, and I thought we had some good action in this show. I thought you definitely had the high drama there. I thought the storylines. I thought the place where we saw Kate and Alice, their kind of relationship is getting more and more strained.
Well, and I also thought it was very sweet of Alice to say, "Hey, I murdered all these people to keep you safe." It's like, oh, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, and but yeah, and but still ended up getting away in the end, and okay, so I think now talk about Sophie and Tyler. That's over, right? Like, that's done.
I hope so. Here's my thing. Have I missed some expressed opinion of his that it's not that it's that you're women, it's that I didn't know about this important relationship to you? Because it's coming off as really homophobic, isn't it? Is that just me? Did I miss something where he was like, I don't care about that. I care that you didn't tell me? Because right now, I feel like he's just like a lady. It's sitting weird to me. It's not helping that character at all for me.
Well, I think it's just a shock to begin with. Just also kind of like, oh, you never mentioned that you were into girls. I think that would be shocking for any guy to find out. That one that you had this long relationship you didn't tell him about, and it was with someone of the other gender. Yeah, I could see that being shocking.
I just wish it was expressed a little more clearly, because as it is, I don't know. He's just in a snit about it. Maybe I'm being too unfair to bland white husband, but
yeah, no, I think more so he's hung up that she's probably still in love with Kate. I think that to me was what was coming that's what was coming across to me.
Yeah, I guess. He didn't handle that very well, and now he's out of the picture. So I'm not saying do you want to see those two, Kate and Sophie, pair up at this point? Because I sure don't.
No, I don't. I think it's more about Sophie being honest with herself, which that seems to have been the whole thing about her character, is that she kind of put all of this stuff down and she rejected herself in order. She rejected love in order to build her career. So I think that's kind of where she's got to rethink her priorities. And maybe she will decide that she'd rather be with Tyler, but she's got to resolve whatever issues she has with Kate first.
Oh, good. So we might see Tyler again. That's exciting.
I mean, you might. I don't know. Or, Title will just turn into a jerk and maybe he'll hook up with Mary. I don't know.
Oh, well, there's an interesting twist.
Then we just have this whole weird kind of like nobody's with anybody. Yeah. Although, Mary and Luke, do you think that's a possibility?
I have thought that since whatever episode it was that they met, when she kind of showed up drunk. I would be open to that, especially if Mary is spiraling and Luke is kind of a attempts to be a steadying influence, or if they have some bad decisions that sort of fuel a fraught relationship. I see a lot of my brain is worrying at all the possibilities. Yes.
All right, and I think that's pretty much the episode. Any thoughts? Do we need to mention the same bumper that ended 4 different episodes this week?
No. I want to hear you say that every time in the recaps. No, I think we're good. Nash Wells, I think I described it in my Supergirl recap as like orgasmic fear was the expression I thought was on his face. So I feel like we've covered that appropriately. Terrified ecstasy. I'm sorry, terrified ecstasy. That's what I said. That's better.
Ecstasy. Okay, that's better. That's better.
Yes, it is.
All right. All right. So we're gonna move on now to there's no news for Batwoman, right?
Correct.
Okay. So next up is Supergirl. Mid-season 5 finale, The Wrath of Rama Khan. Kara argued with Alex over whether to trust Malefic to help them stop Lena from launching Myriad. Rama Khan forced Andrea to help him ignite a super volcano. Last-minute reveal, Nash Wells received knowledge after tapping the symbols behind the Eternium wall and was pulled in by a powerful light.
Terrified ecstasy. Okay, listen, I just need Lena and Kara to work things out. I need them to work things out. That closing scene of the two of them sadly looking at the same photo of them together is... I don't think this show wants us to think that they're actually in love with each other, but they don't not want us to think that, and it's a mess, and I love it, and I just need them to be in the same room again talking to each other. But if they want to give them crying at each other, that's fine too. I'm enjoying that. I'll watch it.
Yeah. So I guess this was intense. You had a lot of stuff going on with Lena, and the fact that she was well, like when Eve was said she wanted to sacrifice herself, she was like, okay, all right, fine, just go out there.
No, Lena Luthor deserves better than that. She was like, no, I'm not going to ask you to do that. No. And it wasn't until Eve said, you literally made me to help you. I'm not your friend. I'm a creation. Put me in, coach. That Lena did that. But Lena's so lonely. She's clinging to her AI friend. Poor Lena. Poor Lena. And she thinks she's doing the right thing. She's so convinced. And I gotta say, for somebody who's like, no, I'm gonna help humanity, but also I do have a plan B where if I'm caught, I blame somebody else so I don't get arrested, which kind of indicates it's not a good guy plan, but it's actually a bad guy plan if you have to have a fall guy. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you think Eve Tessmacher is still buried inside there somewhere going, let me out, you stupid bitch, I fucking hate you.
Yes. Bowerfed, if you were asleep just then, we apologize. Babe, yeah, I do. And I also think Supergirl's the kind of show that will undo the Hope programming and reveal Eve again. It doesn't strike me as a show that destroys the person in a situation like this, but I mean, this whole episode was about second chances and giving people the benefit of the doubt and believing humanity can be better. So I think Eve also is going to be afforded that opportunity this season, because that's just what Supergirl as a show and as a character does,
Yes. Speaking of second chances, I loved Malefic and Alex this week, where Malefic was basically like, Yeah, I've done absolutely horrible, unforgivable things. But I want to help. I mean, the things I did were absolutely atrocious.
But I'm good now.
But I'm good now. I'm good now. I mean, if I were in your position, I would not trust me at all. But you can trust me.
I think Alex got a little blowback online. I saw on Twitter, people were like, God, Alex, just go along with it. Stop being such a killjoy. I don't know. I think Alex is the one they probably all should have listened to from the beginning.
Yes. Yes. I mean, you know, but like it's the kind of thing where like, I mean, yeah, it turned out right, but I totally understood Alex's position.
Yep.
You know, that
also,
really was a helm.
The arbitrary science behind we need to take our inhibitors off. Okay, sure. Because science, sure.
Yeah. Just like, no. We really need to lay it on thick that you need to just abandon all sense of security and put complete faith in this person.
I mean, sure. So can we now talk about Mitch Pileggi, champion sneerer? That guy sneers better than anybody else.
Yeah. So Ramakan. Yeah, Mitch got 2 episodes. Good for him.
Good for him. And I guess Gamemne now is ascendant, and I'm into it. She really is on point with her satin and accessories game, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Leviathan taking a bigger role in the next half of next season.
Well,
of this season.
You assume. I mean, Crisis changes everything.
Oh well, yeah,
is what they keep telling us. So you know. I just need to say that they've gotten so much use out of that tar pit set, the dinosaur museum set. We've seen it in several episodes, but this is the first time I noticed that the coffee place there is called Javatar. A+ work.
Yeah.
Also, Lex Luthor is alive. I think that's it for me.
Yeah, Lex Luthor is alive. Do you think they let Andrea keep her company? Like, what's...
I think it doesn't matter, because antimatter is coming. Although, okay. I can't believe how much I was like, I really want Andrea and Russell to like have another chance. I feel really bad for her about Russell. I went from really hating her. It's because she hasn't had any crimes against journalism in the last couple episodes, and I have the memory of a goldfish, and so I'm like, I feel bad for this lady. The instant she's back to like synergy, I'll feel differently, but... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. yeah, and and John passed the Monitor's test.
Yes, he said goodbye to his past. He's ready to do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor is involved. Was he playing himself at chess? Was that the thing? He was just playing a game against himself.
Probably. I just super love that it made Magneto's no metal holding cell look like child's play.
Yes. All right, and we're on to Crisis, and once again we ended with Nash Wells at that wall, with the yellow light and everything else. Yeah. All right.
And no news for Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Moving on to Watchmen. Season 1, Episode 7. An Almost Religious Awe. Years ago, young Angela Abar found herself orphaned in Vietnam after her parents were killed by a suicide bomber. In the present, Angela recovered from her nostalgia overdose in Lady True's personal care. Lori used her recordings of Angela under nostalgia's influence to connect the dots between Cyclops, the 7th Cavalry, and Senator Keene. Adrian Veidt's 365-day trial finally came to an end. Last-minute reveal: after Angela pulled a metal ring out of her husband's smashed-in face, she warned the blue light in front of her that they were in trouble.
That dude on Reddit was right. The knuckle wrinkles on Dr. Manhattan matched the knuckle wrinkles on Cal guy was right. Wow. Congratulations, guy on Reddit. So, Ed, does this make you want to go back and rewatch every episode, knowing now? Because I thought if this was what they were going to do, that if Cal was going to be Dr. Manhattan, that Angela wouldn't know. Angela knows.
Yeah.
I want to start from the beginning and watch everything again to see. Mind blown.
I mean, to me, that was the bigger reveal. That was the bigger reveal. And I like almost like you wonder like the night that the 7th Cavalry made their first attack on the police. You wonder if like they were thinking that Dr. Manhattan was going to have to come out that night. And they were able to avoid that. Yeah, and it's also there's a lot to think about. Cal's conversation with the kids about, heaven not existing. Yeah, there's so much there, and just like a great episode of Watchmen, you leave there with questions.
This show has captured me like few have done this year, in the last couple of years. I'm loving it. I'm sad that we're on the penultimate episode as of this week. Angela was hooked up to an elephant. What was that? Ed,
what was
that?
I mean, they said a natural host. It didn't mean it was the same host as your nostalgia.
I guess. I just, as long as the elephant was comfortable, I'm okay with it.
Really? We're going to talk animal rights here? Is that?
Well, at least they didn't incinerate it. I guess that's... But I thought, I love that you had kind of that hangover effect with her memories mixing with her grandfather's. I thought they continued that dreamscape from last episode, that then sort of gave way to actual clarity. So yet again, it was beautiful cinematography, compelling writing, surprising weird comic booky things. James Wolk, Senator Keene, wants to become a blue man, so that's interesting for a white supremacist to want to change colors.
Well, as he explained, they're not racist. They seek balance.
I read an interview that Damon Lindelof did with the Hollywood Reporter. We'll talk about that in the news section just for a snippet. But that the point made in that article was about appropriation. That Hooded Justice, his blackness became whiteness, and when you compare that to Bass Reeves and how the appropriation of white culture from black culture is there, then you have the literal white supremacists wanting then to feeling entitled to what Dr. Manhattan has. It's just, this show works on a lot of levels and I'm digging it. Can we talk about June? R.I.P. June.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Angela's Vietnam story as a whole. Just the whole thing with her parents getting killed in that fire, and then calling out the puppeteer, and the cop giving her that badge. You realize like she is completely alone there. She was completely alone. And and it looked like she was gonna get a reprieve when June showed up, and then she just seemed to have like a heart attack right after buckling her into the car seat. Well,
and I love it's clearly you have that Dr. Manhattan connection, because he stopped the war, so you have that there. I understand now why she ended up in Tulsa, right? She was kind of low key about how she ended. There was a job opportunity, so I took it. No, Tulsa was home. It's where she was from. And so it makes total sense that she would end up there, because you could just see how foreign Vietnam, it just would be a foreign place for her, wouldn't it? That the way she would not fit. And it was just, yet again, it was another of that, the puzzle pieces snap into place when you realize, okay, all right, that's why she's here and she's doing what she's doing. And yeah, great stuff.
Yeah. Also, real shout out to Faith Herman, who's the young actress who played young Angela, who, for those who may have remembered her as Darla in Shazam. So that actress, that little girl has a lot of acting range.
She was fabulous.
Yeah, fabulous. I was just really impressed with that. And we also saw the origin of her persona. Sister Night was a blaxploitation movie that she found in a video store in Vietnam.
And her parents didn't want her watching it, but Grandma June was like, "No, that's fine. That's cool."
And also just kind of that vague thing, a man in a mask hurt your daddy once, and that's why he doesn't trust him. Yeah. All right. I think is enough to. Can we just say what the heck is going on with Adrian Veidt? I think is that enough to sum up what we saw?
Oh yeah, I don't think we need to say more than that. I am looking forward to seeing those storylines connect at some point. I guess I'm assuming that those storylines will connect. Perhaps I should not do that. But we have 2 episodes for this. I'm not feeling particularly panicky about, oh my God, how are they going to wrap it all up in 2 episodes? In Lindelof, I trust, but how are they going to wrap it up in 2 episodes?
I mean, Lindelof said this could be 1 season. Oh
yeah, it is. I mean, from what I understand, it is going to tell the story it wants to tell. It's going to wrap up, and if there are future seasons, it would be different, or it would not be necessary to resolve what's happening. So we really do have 2 episodes to wrap all this up.
So, all right. Cool. Oh, wow, Watchmen, man, Watchmen. All right,
Watchman. Oh, the trapdoor. Also, I cannot not say something about the trapdoor.
June Crawford's trapdoor and the fact that the remote wouldn't work. We had to talk about Laurie.
Referencing an old SNL sketch for the record.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
But still, that was really funny. I was a little frustrated. I think of Laurie as being so ahead of the game and so with it and so coolly in command of everything. I was a little frustrated that she kind of let that happen. But, she is not Superwoman. She's not also Dr. Manhattan. So it's okay. She's human. Yeah. She's fallible. And she's going to be fine. She's going to get out of this because any other result is not acceptable to me.
Yeah. And I mean, what's Agent Petey going to do over there at Wade's bunker with those dead 7K members?
Poor Petey.
Yeah, and also, where's Wade? Where is Wade? We know he got out of there.
How did he get out of there? I would like to see a flashback to that, please, this week.
Yeah, it's all coming together. We're getting Dr. Manhattan. He's here.
So this might be a good time to transition into that Hollywood Reporter interview that I mentioned.
Sure.
With Damon Lindelof. He said in that article, Lindelof said that he asked himself, what is the thing that Watchmen comic readers need from a show? What is the thing that they need to make it a Watchmen adaptation or continuation? And the answer was Dr. Manhattan. They need Dr. Manhattan. So this was always the plan to give us Dr. Manhattan, but they kind of worked backward, I guess, from here's what they're gonna, they don't necessarily need this character or that character, but Manhattan, yes. Speaking of, we're not going to see Dan Dryberg. He's not going to be in this season. We got the owl in a cage. That's it.
All right.
I'm going to tweet out a link to this and I'm going to forget, but it's a Hollywood Reporter interview. So just episode 7,
All right. Cool. All right. So yeah. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, next up, Black Lightning. Season 3, Episode 8, The Book of Resistance, Chapter 3, The Battle of Franklin Terrace. Jefferson and Inspector Henderson found themselves making their stand when the ASA attempted to evict an old woman out of her apartment. Gamby tried to find a radio signal so he could show the outside world what was happening in Freeland. Tobias convinced Lynn that the ASA was not cool. Jennifer and Brandon got high and talked about their powers. Last minute reveal, after defeating the ASA at Franklin Terrace, Jefferson and Henderson were ready to take back the city.
Is that the first time you've seen anybody openly smoke a joint on the CW? I don't mean to sound like somebody's concerned mom, but Jennifer, oh my.
What? No, there were a couple of times I think Jennifer snuck out on the balcony in season 1.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I felt a little more like, whoa. I was just surprised to see it on the CW, I guess. You just don't,
Yeah, it's not like the UPN in the 90s. It's a little different.
I mean, what is?
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing where like there's the storyline there doesn't. I mean, it didn't really gel. It makes sense to me, but at this point, I think their camaraderie. Yeah, I'm fine with it now.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, that is 100% in keeping with her character and kids. So that's people, not kids. Everybody. Drugs are cool, man. We should all do them. So I'm not objecting to that. I just was a little surprised. I didn't think the CW showed it quite as openly, and I was just like, oh, okay. This episode felt a little. I wanted to love the painkiller lightning fight scene, but it felt a little stilted. And then there was when they finally pull Lynn out and she drops her purse and she keeps saying my purse and Gamby keeps saying no. It felt a little, I don't know, clunky. It didn't quite gel for me as a whole.
Well, okay, so I was excited for this episode because it's like, okay, we're making that stand. Jefferson has that moment of truth where it's like, no, this isn't right. We have to fight back now, and this is where it's got to happen. He suits up. That was great. Yes. And I was expecting, okay, this is called the Battle of Franklin Terrace, so we're going to get some good action here. And I actually felt like the action was kind of underwhelming. You had that great moment where he like blasts through the door and knocks everyone from the ASA on their ass. And then you had like Anissa come in and she has a cool fight with Khalil. But
not cool, but kind of slow. Maybe I'm being too picky. She's had better fights.
Well, I think the real shocking thing was that.
Oh, I know what you're going to say because I have it in my notes too. Say it.
Yeah. So, like, the quarter of Khalil's glasses break.
Khalil in almost entirely transparent glasses. She punches the clear glasses off and is like, Khalil?
Yeah.
It was covering like 1/20th of his face, woman. What do you mean, Khalil?
Just that little hint of eyeball. That broke the illusion for her.
Oh, man. I am really, really good about suspending my disbelief on this stuff, but that was rough.
Yeah, but I was actually expecting more action here. And I mean, kind of you did have the ASA. A lot of the ground troops were just like, hey, this isn't worth it. This isn't right. And you had the commander come up at the end, which was what it seemed. That last showdown seemed very anticlimactic, where it's like, I have all your powers and all this military strategy, and Jefferson's like, oh, I just gotta wait you out, and he just kind of like literally fizzles.
Okay, fair point. Carry on.
Yeah. It was weird. It's like that act, the gyrations and like just the way you could tell like he didn't know what was happening, so his body kept working even when the special effects were done. And like in that moment I went, oh, wasn't he like the third banana on the Jamie Foxx show?
Does it feel like they were saving some of their budget for crossover stuff? Because Supergirl's gotten some flack for terrible CGI this season. I just wonder if they're pinching pennies so they can really go all out. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had an uncomfortable flashback when Jefferson was talking to the old woman who refused to leave her apartment to the old woman in the last season of Gotham. Remember the one who was living that fabulous life and then dies? Spoilers. Sorry for Gotham. I was a little worried for this old woman because I was like, oh, I know what Gotham did to that lady, and it was not good. But she made it. And then she was shuffled on off to look at her garden, and I was still worried for her, but I think she's okay. I think she's going to be okay.
Yeah, she gets to grow all her pot plants.
Yeah, she's the supplier. Amazing.
I mean, this show really takes a stance on decriminalizing marijuana.
I mean, good for it. We need more representation in the media. It's great. I also super love the tech mage. I'm sure that's not what they're going to call him, but I read too much like fantasy fiction for me to not call him a tech mage. That was great.
Oh, well, no, he called himself Technocrat. That was the name he gave himself.
Take that. I'll take that.
So Gamby runs into a radio station to post a video to the internet. I'm still a little confused as to how that worked.
Let it go. Roll with it.
but okay. And he runs into Baron, one of the meta kids. And you realize like that kid should be Jefferson's age. So he talks to technology. That's like what was the he's a technopath.
Okay.
The techno empath was the term that Gamby used. Yeah, I thought that was cool, bringing another person to the fold. And I thought that storyline was good. And it kind of gave Anissa a little bit of something to do. Connected a bit with Jamila Olsen, reminding her that she's now the voice of the resistance. I thought that was well done. So the other story, the one story that I found a little annoying this week was Lynn. And I've pretty much, I think I've had it with Lynn.
Yeah, same.
I feel that when Tobias Whale is the voice of reason in your storyline.
I actually have in my notes like, let's let Tobias go at this point because
and
this show I think struggles with Lynn sometimes. It feels like she often is written as the scold, or as in this case I guess the whatever they're doing with her now. I get a sense they don't always know what to do with her.
Yeah, and I think it was because you did have some interesting stuff with her last season, but I think it's kind of gone too far. At a certain point, it's like, no, I don't want to help you. Because the ASA is doing the bad thing. And she grabbed her purse full of green light as before she was able to get into the van. So we're gonna see some DTs next week.
Yes.
So looking forward to that. All right. Anything we didn't cover in the episode?
No, I think that did it. And no news. So
no news. All right. So next up, The Flash, mid-season 6 finale, The Last Temptation of Barry Allen, Part 2. Cisco and Iris argued over how to stop blood work as the Dark Flash and the Blood Brothers began to take over the city. Cecile was overcome by the fear around her as she and Camilla tried to escape her office. Nash was reluctant to bow down to the Monitor. Last minute reveal, Nash Wells received knowledge after tapping the symbols behind the Eternium wall and was pulled in by a powerful light.
I wish they were stopped trying to convince us that Barry Allen's gonna die. I know everybody on the show thinks that, and it's very sad, and they've done really good work, but like, he's not gonna die. So,
I mean, it's a whole big thing in Crisis is that he sacrifices himself, and then you have the great moment when Wally West takes Barry's ring and becomes the new Flash. Yeah. That's what's going to happen, right, Sarah?
Yeah. Grant Gustin, I surprised this is his last episode this week.
Yes. Yes, and also, Kara is going to die in Superman's arms, and that show's going to be over too, right? Like that's
Yep, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, at least they're not making us think that Kara's going to die. I will say that. How is the scary vibe of the Flash? How did that work for you?
I mean, I thought the stuff with Cecile and Camilla, that was like some of the best horror movie stuff in this episode.
Agreed. I wish the zombies, they weren't. We needed to see the zombies kill more people for it to be really scary. Sorry, that's just me as an R-rated zombie movie person.
Mm-hmm.
You need to up the, stakes. But it was fun. I enjoyed the zombie movie tropes, and I enjoyed Cecile's power going haywire and letting him work through zombies. That was cool. That was a good way to use her, and I guess if they want to have the other character with her, that's fine.
Yeah, I do like how Allegra just came out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, we need your light powers to fix it. I wish they could have thrown her a little bit more into the episode to build up to that. But to me, this was, I think this was the real dynamic here between Iris and Cisco, of Iris of both of them coming to terms with Barry's fate, and then also learning that they need to trust each other. And once they did that, they figured out that Barry was actually trying to get a message to them, and that Barry was more in control than they thought.
Yeah, Barry can't ever be totally evil. It's Barry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I wish we would have seen a little bit more of Barry's internal monologue, like we saw last episode. Because he was just a bad guy for so much of this. Yeah, I'm actually a little disappointed that they didn't kill Cyril Ramamurthy. That they didn't kill Ramsey Rosso. Because he was really annoying. The whole like, no, I'm trying to survive. Okay, we get it, bro. We understand what you're doing, and you're wrong.
Yeah. You will live forever. Yeah, no, not like this. No.
Yeah. No.
My skin. No. My beautiful flawless skin. What have you done to it?
Yeah. No. We understand exactly what you're offering, and it's a no. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Hard pass.
Yes. Take your ball and go home. Yeah. But, so, I mean, do we really think that he's gonna stay in that Max cell for very long?
No, we do not. But again, I don't know what the show has planned for the back half of the season, but I don't think, Bloodwork is done as a threat, right?
Yeah, they said he was only going to be in the first half of the season. So
I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Maybe he pops up again towards the end of the season. We don't know. But he's gone for now.
Goodbye, you and your monologues.
Yeah. Also, big things. Killer Frost and Caitlin. I thought they had a cool moment where Killer Frost got some of her confidence back. And it really seems like, we've seen so much of Killer Frost this season. But I think it's interesting to see like how Caitlin and Killer Frost are kind of working together. They've found an interesting balance.
Yeah, I wish that they had found it sooner. It would have been fun to see a little more of that throughout the seasons, but I'm glad we're getting it now.
Yeah. And yeah. Also, I found it nice that we got actual context for Nash as to what happened before he actually kneels down and starts touching those symbols. And that also, no matter how much he resents the Monitor, fighting a zombie horde can give you a different perspective on things.
You just said a mouthful there, my friend.
All right. Is there? We really breezed through that.
I think that's fine. Let's see. I'll check my notes just to be sure, but
Yeah, but I mean, we got
covered.
red skies. We actually found the red skies in this episode. It actually, like, oh my god, Sarah, crisis is coming. It's coming.
It is coming. I did like that image of Barry and Iris holding hands as they face that down. They really are a great couple. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that visual with the team behind them. So yeah, let's go to Crisis.
All right. But before Crisis, we have one more episode to get through. And that is Arrow. Mid-season 8 finale. Purgatory. Oliver and company prepared to build a weapon on Lian Yu as a mysterious force began bringing Oliver's dead friends and enemies back to life. Diggle was still hurt that Lila had hidden her involvement with the Monitor. Roy and Renee were both seriously injured in a plane crash. Mia and William worked out their daddy issues together. Last-minute reveal, Nash Wells received knowledge after tapping the symbols behind the Eternium wall and was pulled in by a powerful light.
Nash Wells did what now? Come on. So, I have to be honest, when that plane came under fire, my thought was, I mean, save Roy, but... Was that wrong?
So you mean like at the end of the episode when Oliver turns to Renee and Dinah and is like, thank you, but we're not paying you to be in the Crisis.
You can take what you can carry from craft services as you leave.
By the way, we will need your security badges.
Although I will say, Jason, who usually does not notice or comment on these things, in that plane said, "Hey, Black Siren's hair looks really good." So she had that going for her this week. But seriously, does it feel like Oliver's been making his peace with his kids for like 3 episodes in a row now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to look. Give me crying Stephen Amell every week. That's fine. That's great. I love it. But I do feel like they're kind of having similar conversations, and I didn't understand how this nuance was different than I think Mia was more receptive to it this time, and that was great. I really like that. But it just feels like a big long, hey guys, this is why I'm doing this. Part 6. Conversation, you know?
Well, I mean, I think this episode it was more like, oh no, William's down with it, and Mia's like, no, I'm just still not down with it. So it was more of just everyone convincing Mia to just calm down.
And I get it, but yeah, it just felt a little. We have been over it, but I don't care. The end result was, I want my kids to grow up together. So John, please make sure that happens. And that is really what I needed, because I've all along been so sad that those kids were deprived their childhood together. So I think that's great. I'm excited for that. Of course, Crisis is coming, so who knows?
Yeah. And I mean, if the more that we're turning this to see, if that's the spinoff that they're planning, if Green Arrow and the Canaries is going to be more the future after this, after William and Mia have grown up together. I think that's starting to be a little bit more palatable in my head.
I feel like a jerk. If it was Mia and William, awesome. I just don't super love the Katie Cassidy and what's her name Canaries super much.
Okay.
So if it was just the new generation, that would be really cool, and you give them kind of more of a support team. I just don't need the other two as much.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember, the Canaries was like a whole group of people that Dinah had trained. So, you could have like Dinah and Laurel take a step back. And
but will
like
they? That's
Zoe
my thing. That's my thing. If they're willing to do that, cool. If they're going to be just in the background, fine. I just don't need them front and center, because I've just struggled with those characters the whole time they've been on the show. So
Also, I'm sorry, what's the name of the actress that plays Dinah? I cannot see that actress saying, I'm not wearing that old lady makeup for 24 episodes.
Juliana Harkavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I am really curious how that's gonna. Do you dump them from 2019 into the future for the show? Do you want to set a show 40 years in the future for the difficulty of doing future tech every episode, or do you keep them in 2019? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you like getting reminded of who the supporting characters in the flashbacks from season 1 were?
Oh god, I had no idea. None. I'm so sorry, people out there who are just like, why is she on a DC TV podcast?
No. Well, I remembered Yao Fei.
Oh yeah, him. Yes, of course.
Yeah. When Fire showed up, I'm like, who's that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Like they could have cast a different actor, and I would not have known.
They could have. I mean, they could have told me everything that happened to him in season 1 from start to finish, highlights of his dialogue, all of it. I would have no idea. Season 1 is a very distant memory to me. So
yeah. I'm almost upset that we didn't. That that Slade Wilson wasn't still in his submarine prison on Lienya when they showed up.
Is that where we left him?
Well, no, he got out of there eventually, but at the end of season 2, that's where he was. But I guess because he's on Titans that they're not letting Manu Bennett come back.
That's a shame, unless he's one of the. Well, we'll get to the news later.
Yeah,
we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah. So okay. So you had that big plane crash, and Roy Harper lost his arm. Had to get it amputated because like a plane engine fell on him.
That's the most Lost thing to happen since Lost went off the air.
Sarah, did you know that in the comics, or I think he eventually got it back, but there was a point where Roy Harper only had one arm.
I did not know that. The only point of reference I have is Dark Knight Returns, when Oliver Queen has only one arm, right? The graphic novel? That was my only arm-related thing with anybody from that universe. Mm-hmm. But I wondered, they made such kind of a... You can kind of tell if you're somebody like me who doesn't read all the comics when a thing, like a capital T thing, is happening that happened in the comics, and that kind of felt like one of those times.
Yeah. There was a point in the comics, like about 14, 15 years ago, where Roy lost an arm, and he was walking around without an arm, and I think he was married, had a kid, and he was Arsenal, and he was very important in a storyline called Justice League Cry for Justice. But yeah, that was a thing, and evidently they're adding that on here. So
poor Roy.
Mm-hmm.
I came back for this.
Yeah, and Diggle felt responsible, because he was, and it is all his fault. And
way to make him feel better.
Well, I mean, we don't need to lie to ourselves. But yeah. But I thought the showdown there was really good. The twist in the end, I don't know why William would have thought that it was Oliver's DNA. Of course it's going to be Lila's. Of course it ended up being Lila's. And in the end, we find out that, when she reappears with the red skies as the Harbinger.
That was a good moment. I love it when an actress who's cast for a kind of role ends up in something kind of different,
Yes. And we got to see Harbinger's costume, which is very, very different from her costume in the comics. Sarah, are you familiar with Harbinger's costume in the comics?
I'm not. Is it something that had to be adjusted for the confines of gravity on Earth?
Well, I mean, she has a big red helmet, and it's very revealing. It's basically a metal one-piece bathing suit. It's a but they got the color scheme right. It's blue.
Well, that's something.
You know, I'll let you check out some of the images from Crisis to go find that. And her hair is not long, flowing Farrah Fawcett blonde.
What? All right, calm down, guys who drew Harbinger.
Hey, don't blame me. Blame George Perez.
Oh, I will.
So yeah. Once again, we see the Crisis is starting. Oh, man, Crisis is here. Yeah, and you know, and the same scene of Nash Wells in that cave. What is that light that's pulling him in? All right.
Does it rhyme with Shmariah? Yeah. Narmovu, one of those.
All right, and it's weird to call this a mid-season finale because we're only gonna get like the Crisis and 2 more episodes when we come back in January, but technically it is a mid-season finale.
So here's the thing that I have not put together until like this week. Does this mean Oliver's done after the Crisis episodes and the remaining Arrow episodes are not Oliver? How?
Yeah, I think they said. So I think they said that there's the Crisis episode, then there's one episode that's just Mia and William that is going to be like a backdoor pilot for Green Arrow and the Canaries.
Yeah, that'll be the one after Crisis, I think.
Yes, and then the 10th episode is going to be the big finale, and that will have Oliver in it.
So does he? So I mean, does that tell us things about what happens or doesn't happen in Crisis to Oliver? Then is what I'm asking.
I mean, not necessarily. Also, like, because I'm really thinking back. You know, where at the end of last season, Felicity followed the Monitor through that breach, believing that she was going to see Oliver on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm kind of hanging my hat on with that.
Yeah, it's logically you have to have Oliver in the finale. It occurred to me that Crisis is leading toward Oliver's death, so I guess we just have to buckle up and find out. Also, at one point in this episode, my household did in unison shout, "Today is our Independence Day," because it kind of was what he was leading toward. And I did like that lineup of heroes at the end. That was great. I mean, this is good stuff. Yeah, we had good episodes this week.
Yeah. One final suit up. All right. I think we've said all we can about Arrow. Okay. Was there any Arrow specific news?
Not Arrow specific, but I have so much crossover news. Are you ready?
All right, let's get into news for the shows.
Okay. The crossover.
The crossover.
That's what basically all our news is this week. So the thing I'm most excited about is apparently there are 6 yet unannounced guest stars that we are going to see. Yeah. So I don't know what nights, I don't know when, I don't know who. I assume they're big and exciting, but Mark Guggenheim did an interview saying that they were thrilled that they were able to pull it off with secrecy. So I guess, Ed, my question for you is who do you want it? Like in your heart of hearts?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
From the DC universe. Come on. Wait, is Arnold DC?
He was Mr. Freeze.
Oh my God. Completely blocked that movie out. Why would you?
Yes, let's see.
Bring Drew Carey with him. Or Drew Barrymore with him.
No, it would be Uma Thurman.
Drew Barrymore was one of the Sugar and Spice ladies right?
Those were Tommy Lee Jones girls in Two-Face.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, Uma Thurman played Poison Ivy in that movie.
Yeah, Debbie Mazur was the other one with the Drew Barrymore thing. I just want all of them. Actually, we just named 4 people, didn't we? So let's make that happen.
Yeah.
5 people. Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Just
bring Jim Carrey too.
Everyone from the Joel Schumacher Batmans.
They did say that they asked several movie stars who just couldn't do it for scheduling purposes. Some people couldn't do it. Some people didn't want to do it. Some people wanted more money than they had, and some people couldn't do it because of schedules. But it sounds like they reached out to pretty much everybody, including Nicolas Cage, who apparently said no. This was your chance, Nick, to be Superman. We're all really disappointed you said no.
You remember those Adam West Batman scenes where him and Robin would be walking up the wall and you'd have like random like TV celebrities poke their heads out the window and go, "Hey, what's going on?" I want there to be a scene like that, and for George Clooney to pop his head out a window, say, "I'm sorry," and then close it.
I mean, I don't know what to expect from Crisis, but yeah, maybe. That's amazing. One guest star we do know who was confirmed in footage that came out is Will Wheaton in what looks like kind of a blink and you miss it sort of prominent background role. So keep your eyes peeled for Wesley Crusher, all grown up.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. I love Will Wheaton. He's hysterical.
Yeah, of course. Big proponent of tabletop gaming. I am a fan.
Yes.
Apparently, we also may hear the Superman theme. Early on, they said they weren't going to have permission to use that theme that we all know. But Mark Guggenheim tweeted recently that things may have changed a little bit since then. So buckle up for that.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about leaving my little recording booth, which is my laundry room, and going and watching the Smallville finale right now. I have never seen it. So, but apparently they used the song in that. They used the theme in that. So I just feel like I feel compelled to put some Tom Welling in my life this weekend. Speaking of Supermen, comicbook.com had a cool interview with the current CW actors who talked about the experience of Brandon Routh stepping on set in his Superman costume. And apparently that dude is Superman. Like, he stepped out in his costume and he looked like he was 6'6", and his demeanor and his bearing is the Superman vibe. And everybody on set was just like, oh, this dude is Superman. So there were lots of people who were, I want to say, let's see, Cisco, I think, was one interviewed. Ralph Dibny was one interviewed. Hartley Sawyer was like, oh yeah, no, that guy is like literal Superman. So my man Brandon Routh is having a good week this week.
Good for him. Actually, one other person, if they find someone from that Superboy TV show from the 80s and 90s, if you could slip in Gerard Christopher or who played Superboy seasons 2, 3, and 4, or Stacey Haydock who played Lana Lang. If they get a moment, that is something that would bring me to tears. Just
would
some
you
kind of
recognize them today?
Of course I would. I absolutely would.
Okay, silly me. Of course you would.
Yeah. Or Howard Sherman, who's still I think the best Lex Luthor ever put on screen. But
what if they get Gene Hackman? I'm serious. What's Gene Hackman doing right now?
He's living in New Mexico. He's completely retired. He just does the voice for the Lowe's commercials. That's it. The last on-screen credit late Gene Hackman had was "Welcome to Mooseport."
Guys, I need you to know, Ed and I did not prepare this. I just brought this up off the cuff, and he just knew the answer.
So yeah, if they get Gene Hackman, please. that would be a miracle. That would be a miracle. That would be like Robert Redford actually showing up as himself on Watchmen.
Isn't Robert Redford actually going to show up as himself on Watchmen?
We haven't seen him yet, so I don't believe it.
I thought he was supposed to.
Well, I mean, they said he's the president. They didn't actually say that he was actually going to be on screen. I think that was
okay. I guess I was fair enough. Okay, well now I have expectations for the Watchmen finale too. Great. I feel like this is one of our giddier podcasts that we've ever done. Is this just the free Crisis excitement and also the fact that I had a whole pot of coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. One more thing to mention, there is going to be a comic book tying up episode like dangling threads between hours 1 and 2. The comic book is going to be available on December 15th. I saw specifically at Walmart. I don't know if it's going to be anyplace else, but definitely they said Walmart. It is going to feature, among other characters, the Ray, Kid Flash, and Felicity, all of whom are not in the crossover. So we will at least get to see some of those characters interacting with Crisis storylines, but in comic book form. That will be available, like I said, December 15th, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
So I'm excited. This is yay. And what are the odds that the entirety of season 1 is just people meeting and introducing themselves? Just like a superhero icebreaker mingler thing. Everybody has white wine spritzers. Yeah, you did great work on Earth X. Yeah.
That's usually like the first 20 minutes of any crossover is we got to get the bands together.
Well, as the recapper doing it on Sunday, I'm wondering if it's going to be that or if it's going to be much, much more complicated. I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm Jesse Spano and Saved by the Bell. So excited. So scared.
All right.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah. Are there any other shows with news?
A handful. Next is Legends of Tomorrow. The trailer dropped for the next season, which is coming up very soon, season 5. It looks as wacky, weird, funny, offbeat, delightful as ever, including Ray Palmer seems to have... Ray Palmer has a Mr. Rogers-like show because my man Brandon Routh is a good human being. He puts on the sweater. He talks to kids in a gentle voice. Ray Palmer forever.
I will just say, I had a moment last night driving home with Bill Sweeney. And we were talking about how there's been all this shakeup because it leaked that the Warner Brothers brass don't feel they can find a way to make Superman relevant in modern times. And, just basically like everyone wants dark and gritty stuff and someone who's that truly sincere, people won't find appealing. And I think it's the exact opposite. The people are yearning for that true blue honesty and inspiration. And I think the best proof of it is you've had 2 movies in the last 2 years, 2 successful movies about Mr. Rogers. So
I don't hate that hypothesis. Yeah. Yeah.
So completely irrelevant, but just
no. I think the yearning for goodness is very relevant, especially as we're going to have a lot of Superman on our screens coming up real soon. So, guys, I'm vibrating with excitement. I am ready for this crisis.
Yeah. And that Legends trailer was bonkers, and I can't wait for that show to get back.
I know, me too. Okay. 2 more shows have news that are not related to the crossover. Shall I? Presumably. We'll see. Unannounced guest stars. Shall I jump in?
Yes.
Titans. Confirming what I think we all probably could have suspected, but Damaris Lewis, who plays Blackfire, will be a regular in season 3. I suspect that is going to be our big bad. Ed, are we going to go to outer space, do you think?
It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Exciting. Yeah, I think it's highly probable, actually.
Yeah, cool. Can we see the tiger in space? That's what I want to know.
Ooh.
Yeah. We also saw a couple of leaked photos of the scrapped season 1 finale of Titans that featured the Doom Patrol coming to help them out. They were going to be portaled in to fight Trigon. That got scrapped for the finale they gave us. I would say for better or for worse, but I feel like that's definitely was scrapped for worse.
Yeah. I'm interested. I mean, something must have been off with that finale because, we were Nightwing was supposed to be in that finale, and we were meant to see Raven in her cloak and hood, and Starfire having a more comic accurate costume. So I'm wondering what caused them to change course and just shut things off the way that they did, and completely retool that for that finale at the beginning of this season.
I don't know, but let's think about what could have been, man.
All right.
And then final bit of news for the week is for Lucifer. Amy Garcia did an interview with ET Online and said that Ella this season is going to maybe date a little unwisely. I don't get a sense that it's that spiraling out that she did at the start of season 4. But she is going to maybe, and I think that's great. She's been everybody's kind of perky kid sister, but Ella deserves a full life. And, if that involves dating, Go for it, Ella. Also, Amy Garcia knows how the show ends. She says when she learned how it ends, she put her hand over her heart. She says there better be a lot of Kleenex. And she talked about a kind of a Beauty and the Beast story that they're setting up. And they have been setting up. I mean, all along it is Beauty and the Beast. So I just hope it's hammy. I just want a hammy ending.
Yeah. I mean, Ella had such a rough time last season. If she is dating woes, man, I don't know. But as long as I hope she's the one I really want a happy ending for from that show.
Yeah, I concur. She's goodness and light, and I don't know that her happy ending needs to be with a partner. If it is, great. If it's not, that's great too. But I want good things for Ella. I want good things for all of them, but for Ella. Also, the 6th episode of season 5 will be the final installment of the show's trilogy of Ladies' Night Out episodes. It will be called Blue Balls with a Z, and it features the women in clubbing gear. So like the neon, the ponytails, all of it. We first saw them all together, season 2 Lady Parts, where they were celebrating Chloe's divorce. And then All Hands on Decker, season 3 was Chloe's bachelorette party. So yeah, there's going to be some ladies clubbing.
All right. I joked with this before we recorded, but I actually, now that I think of it, Blue Balls. Is it possible that is the name of a male strip club that the ladies attend?
Oh man, I hope so. We owe that. We are owed that for gender parity, I think. So, and also I think it would be really funny because Maze would be super into it, and I feel like Ella would surprise everybody by being like, "Oh yeah, I go here all the time," and Chloe would be the one who's just, "I can't." I really would love to see this dynamic. So from your lips to Dad's ears.
We are on Netflix now, so you can up the adult content.
Break out the G-strings.
All right, and that's it for the news, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This is a long episode.
Wow. All right, time for our winners of the week. I'll go first.
Okay.
So really straight up, you had a lot of stuff going on this week in every episode, but to me, the one character that really stuck out in Watchmen was Lady True. I thought she took on the week.
Which is funny because we didn't mention her once in our discussion.
I mean, yeah, but but yeah, she basically put Angela in her place, just like, you don't understand what's going on. She opened her speech with the Millennium Clock, and that whole thing with her parents, that we found out beyond is her mother, not her daughter, and that she's been slipping her mom's memories so that her parents can see this moment, and finding out who her dad is. I think it's Dr. Manhattan. Have
we discussed the issue of whether Dr. Manhattan can father children? Has that come up in the comics?
Well, I mean, I'm of the opinion. Okay, so big deep dive here. There's a moment in the Watchmen comic when Dr. Manhattan and the comedian are in Vietnam, and the comedian blows off this one woman who says she's carrying his kid. And so it might not be his biological daughter, but I'm saying that I think the comedian kills that woman.
I was going to say, doesn't blow off. I think she's dead. I think she's murdered. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Dr. Manhattan saved her. That's my guess, is that he saved her and raised the daughter as his own. And that daughter became Lady True. That's my guess.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
So she thinks of him as her father, and that's also one of the reasons why she warned Angela and is like, you've got to save him from the 7th Cavalry. So yeah, she's been a great character. But I think she really shined in this episode.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
Good. Mine is pretty straightforward based on themes we saw in a handful of episodes this week, but that is bad guys who think they're the good guys. But I mean, Lena Lena has such good intentions, but she cannot see any downside to what she's trying to do with her make everybody nonviolent and peaceful. Bloodwork really thinks he's saving those people by making them gross, veiny zombies. So that's a look. And then Senator Keene on Watchmen, I think I don't know. Does he want to become Dr. Manhattan to do good for the world or for the power? I think he probably knows he's a bad guy, but maybe he's telling himself, I can do more good than be president. Why not be blue? So I just thought there were some people who kind of don't understand really what they're working toward this week.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Sarah, we finished an episode. This is the last episode before Crisis.
Yes.
All right. Oh man. Well, thank you, everybody. That's the DC TV report for this week.
We took you on quite a ride.
You can just find us on Twitter. I'm at Little Eddie O'Hare.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the new and improved Wicked Theory podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!